Hey.
Maybe time for XLV.
You're telling me, like, I not gonna lie, I averaged in MDT because it looks like it wants to go. It looks like it's gonna be like an earnings catalyst or something like that.
MPT, okay. Well, you're catching a knife.
Oh, yeah, I'm catching a knife. Okay.
Okay, I
All
respect it.
right. All right. Can you say something real quick?
Hello, testing. 1, 2, 3.
All right, cool. Just want to make sure I'm capturing audio on both ends of it. All right. I'm going to. Can I just. Okay. All right. Wait, why are you going gray?
My screen?
No, it's whenever I have something up. Okay. That's obnoxious. Okay.
It's next week. Will I be back home in time? The 27th.
And
Let me
then,
look. Okay, yeah, I should be. Next week, I'm definitely going live on Twitch.
okay. All right. So I'm gonna. Why does he keep doing this? Okay. All right. I'm just gonna have to remember the switch over. Okay. All right. This will be a good first dry run, but going.
What would
Do I
Zoom
have
have been better?
Huh?
Would Zoom have been better?
No, no, it's a weird issue with OBS. Um, with it being like as soon as I switched over to looking at my chart versus looking at your screen, it was disappearing. Like
Okay.
your screen would literally disappear and go gray. I'm just gonna drop this in chat.
Oh, XLC last week was definitely the one. Had its charted out and everything. Hopefully people executed on it.
All right, ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Wait.
Oh, you want me to do the intro?
Yes.
Alrighty, welcome back. So this week of Monday the 21st to Friday the 25th of August, we are starting off with the sectors. First things first, we have XLC. So XLC last week we projected this break pretty much below the 66.95 level that we would end up hitting all of our magnitude price targets, which we did. Our last price target that we stopped here on Friday that we actually started to potentially get a bullish reversal here was at this 64.53 sell side liquidity. So this week going in, we did create a gap on Thursday that we potentially may go fill starting out this week. Looking at this, we have a call trigger above 65.31. Overall first PT would be 67.04. And then as well, we also have a put trigger below 64.44. And as well would be the 2 down on the week as well. So from that point on, we'd be looking to target the 63.31. And then potentially we can even get continuation down to 62.43. And then with XLY, same situation. XLY, we had a gap on Friday or Thursday going into Friday. We also have a gap to the downside that does look like the drawn liquidity currently at this moment. So we do have a gap to the downside that gets filled at 160.05. Looks like very likely that we get filled this week. And then as well, we also have another gap filled to the downside at 153.09. So with XLY, I am a little bit more biased to the downside on this name. So for our call trigger, we have 163.09 to target this 168.30 buy side liquidity based off the daily time frame. As well, for our put trigger, we have a put trigger below 160.93 to target this first gap fill at 160.05, and then from there down to 156.24, then there down to 153.09. With XLP looks like we're going to get a lot of downside. The reason why I say that, ultimately we had this weekly order block. If we go back here on a weekly time frame, right here, ultimately we clearly didn't hold it, which invalidated it. So likely that turned into a breaker block. So at this point, if we do get a retest about the 74 level, I would look to short this and bring this back down to target the 71.77, and then even potentially all the way down to the 70.98. And then as well, we also have equal lows that can take out that 70.09.
Oh, those lows look good.
Yep. And then for the retail traders, what does it look like to you? Leave it in the comment section. What does it look like? All right. So we have a call trigger above 73.17. Overall, the highest I would target would really be this order block at 74.06. And then from there, we have a put trigger below 72.56, which would also be the 2 down on the week, which we would then target this 71.77 down to 70.98, and then all the way down to the equal lows about 70 level. And last and certainly not least, XLE. So the only thing, this and XLV are about the only things that I'm actually somewhat could see upside on, like within the next month, and actually hold its upside. Everything else, we're going to grab sell side liquidity. So with XLE, we're currently rejecting this gap fill. Still, we pretty much need to close above this to really become bullish again. But for the time being, we do have a call trigger above 88.92. From that point, we want to target this 91.34 level, then up to 91.97. And then as well, we also have a put trigger below 87.15. And then we'd ultimately be targeting this gap fill down to 84.30. And then if we do get more downside, 83.83 or 83.33. And then Rob, you want to take over for the other sectors?
Yeah, I can go ahead and take over for the other sectors here. So, whoop, that's my watch list. All right, so starting off with XLF, the one thing I want to caution everyone with this week before really going into it is we do have Jerome Powell speaking on Thursday and Friday. So we may see, for ICT people, we may see a push up into premium and then a rip basically back down into sell side liquidity and grabbing that. All right, so XLF, we have a nasty 2 down here for your stratters. We broke below the basically 9 moving average. So we're going to be looking at 33.72 for your puts. Really, you're going to be wanting to sweep this low down here at 33.25. This almost looks like a little bit of an order block to me. Maybe it might be that one. But basically, we need to push down here. We do have the TTM squeeze pushing down as well. We want to play calls. We can look at 34.92 to the upside here to ultimately grab this swing high here at 35.71. But the huge thing that I can see here is we do have a nice trend line that we can probably draw as well here, that we're basically making lower highs each time. So we're in a failed swing upwards. So when we're in a failed swing upwards, what are we going to seek after that? We're going to seek sell side liquidity to the downside. Now, if we take a look here at XLV, XLV definitely does look interesting to me. We've basically just been basing in a range for the longest period of time. I mean, we're pretty much sitting here at all-time highs. We did make a lower high than our previous. We haven't been able to grab the swing high yet, but we are making a higher low at the same time. So we are in a bullish channel. It's going to be just a question of if we're going to take this swing high or not. In this higher low, we're going to create a higher low here. We do also have some healthcare tickers reporting earnings this week as well. So 132.73, oh, my bad, wrong candle. 133.10 is going to be your put trigger. You're really going to be wanting to look for this low here at 133.10. Honestly, let's dive down here to the daily and see if there's an interesting candle that we could wipe. I mean, really 132.07 could be that point. We do have a gap down here as well at 130.46 for XLV. These relative equal highs are definitely very interesting to me, to say the least. Um, Especially considering we have this high here as well. So we could literally sweep these relative equal highs and these highs, and then after that, we're going to be targeting buy side liquidity all the way up here at 141.77. And you bet your sweet butt, we're going to see that ticker. We're going to see this price point again at some point because you know how many stops there are there. It's absolutely insane. So taking a look at XLI. XLI just is extremely bullish. All-time highs, we're getting a little bit of a pullback. Oh no, kind of thing. So if we take a look here for puts, we're going to be looking at 105.35. And then we're going to be really ultimately looking for, I would say, all the way down here at 99.91, really, because you have this candle here that's pretty powerful. You have an order block here as well that's pushing up. You have your buy side liquidity all the way up here as well. So this might just be a simple mean reversion coming back down to your 9-day moving average and then coming back up and grabbing this high and proceeding onwards to the moon. So really, you want to be looking at 105.35 for puts to the downside, target 99.91. To the upside, you're going to be wanting to look at 108.99, targeting that 111.12 point. If we take a look at this on the daily time frame, on Friday we had a nice bullish day here. So it'll be interesting to see if we come up. Maybe we open inside on futures if we continue to push upwards in the week, and then we maybe fail to displace higher. So we make a lower low coming back down here. So taking a look at XLB here on the weekly time frame. XLB, we got the 2-2 all the way down. The huge thing that I want to see here is, do we take out this swing low on this candle here at 79.31? We have our put trigger here at 80.19, so you can pull down the 79.31. Do have the TTM coming in. Volume is also showing a bearish trend as well. Do have these relative equal highs, so if you wanted to play calls, that would be your target of 85.86. Your call trigger on the week is going to be 82.91 up to that 85.86 level, which does seem to be relative equal highs on these two candles as well as this candle back here as well. So it'd be a good level to come back up and maybe stop people out. If we see us make a higher low here, that would be the point that we would want to look for, is targeting that 85 level. So XLRE, I've been hearing horrible things about commercial real estate and how rates are affecting real estate in general. It's a very interesting thing. We are proceeding here. We can draw our trend line. We're making higher lows. So we are pushing upwards, but we are also making lower highs as well. That's not the best trend line. Let's go all the way back here. So no,
Look at the one that
change our
connects
mind.
from October 3rd to
October
May
3rd.
30th on the weekly time frame.
October 3rd to May 30th.
Yep. October 3rd, 2022 to May 22nd.
God, why am I
On the weekly time frame.
October 4th? Yeah, I'm on the weekly time frame. So the 4th here to, what did you say?
Or October 10th. My apologies.
Oh, October. Okay.
That bottom, that wick to the wick on Monday, the 22nd of May.
22nd. Is that? Nope, that's June. Ah, okay.
Yep.
Interesting. Yeah, so we're basically just in a descending, we're basically in a giant wedge at this point, and we're making those lower highs for higher lows. So we're basically just compressing here. You can see that on the TTM as well. You do have a red squeeze, which is the indication of a medium squeeze. If we hop up to our higher time frame and take a look at it, yeah, you were 2 down on the month. You basically came up here, failed to displace higher over this previous swing high, came down, and now we're going to grab sell side liquidity. It'll be an interesting point to take a look at here on the weekly. So we're going to play this below. Our puts are going to be 35.79. Ultimately, we're going to want to target this low here, 35.04. We could think about playing calls if we wanted to, if we opened up inside and saw us make that higher low and continued up with nice amount of volume pushing in. 37.34 is going to be that call trigger you're going to want to target. What is this? 37.39, followed by really your swing high here, testing this downtrend line as well at 37.7, my bad, 39.20. So that's XLRE. XLK on the week, your technology, keep in mind, NVIDIA does report this week, so this could greatly change. But puts below 162.94, you're really going to be wanting to target this wick down here at 153.47 on the weekly time frame. If you wanted to play calls here, 169.66, and you're ultimately going to want to target this swing high here at 181.46 on the week. We hop down here to the daily time frame and take a look at this. Friday, we did have that bullish manage. So we could literally just see a push up. And if we fail to displace really over this high here, Thursday's high of 167.34, or really Friday's high here at 165.63, that could be an indication that we're just going to be continuing the downtrend. It's just we're opening up inside, trying to see if we can come up here, grab this level of liquidity, and then continue on down. Now, overall for XLU pretty much for me is at this point of like do or die. Um, you did make a lower low here than all of these, but it's still a higher low than your swing low down here. So we haven't swept this level yet. So this would be like a level where I would put an alert out, honestly. And if we're sweeping 60.35, that's definitely a level because we're going to come down here further and really start looking at sweeping pandemic level lows. But we had a failed 2 down on the day for Friday. On the week, we had a 2 down. It actually pretty much went pretty well in force. We weren't able to really close the body below the previous week's low. So that's going to be something to keep in mind. We're probably going to open up inside. If we want to play puts, 62.98 is going to be that level to take a look at. And then our real target's going to be 60.35. We also might want to take a look at 61.86 as well. What's really interesting is the TTM is pointing upwards right now. So maybe there's some news catalyst or something that's going to be coming out. Who knows? 64.57 is going to be your call trigger, followed by 65.07 is going to be your first PT. Really, I would be wanting to take a look at this swing high here at 69.16 to come up and grab that level of liquidity, those relative equal highs. Also, this seems to be a very seller present level. You can see the wicks, sellers stepped in here, pushed price down. Buyers came up, sellers came up to this level and said, nope, we're pushing it down. So we're still making those lower highs as well. We did make that lower low here, so we just got to keep that in mind. Now I'm going to go ahead and hop over to my watch list for the week. So I have 4 tickers, one of which is an XLE. Fang was definitely very interesting to me. Previous week, we had a long leg doji, very thin body, couldn't push above, and this indicates indecision to me. So that's something to take a look at here. We did close this week's the previous week. So 2 weeks ago was a long wick doji. This week was a hammer. So we have 145.69 would be our put trigger. You would want to sweep the long leg doji at 144.24. And really, ultimately, if we could, I would play this as a swing down the 125.73 for a longer term swing here. But overall, with everything going on macro with oil and everything like that, I'm leaning more bullish. So 148.04 is going to be your call trigger. Your first price target's pretty much going to be immediate here at 150.14. I at 151.75. And then really, I would want to be targeting the next level here, 152.79. And then we have this gap as well that I can highlight out for you guys here. So highlight this gap out. This is a gap that I would definitely look at targeting. So draw your fib, 50% of the gap. I would be looking for that gap fill. We get this gap fill. The next level after that basically is looking for the high here, 168.95 on the week. Be an absolute bananas candle, but this could move in an upwards direction. XLE overall, I mean, the week is red. Everything else is full time frame continuity green. So we just got to play it. So is it going to be a 3-1-2 down or is it going to be a 3-1-2 up? It's one of my favorite strat patterns to play. So we got J&J. J&J is very interesting to me. If you're an options trader and you follow options volume and unusual whales and all of them, it's honestly insane the amount of volume that we've seen on J&J contracts. So we have what's called a 2-1 here. So we couldn't close above the previous week's high. We pretty much have a nice doji here. So 175.60 is going to be your call trigger. You're going to be wanting to look for this candle really up here, the sweep at 181.04. And then after that, it would be all-time highs all the way up here at, what is this? 186.69. Now we have 171.31 is going to be our put trigger. And really, I'm going to be looking for this level down here at 166.06 with the amount of volume that's stepping in here on the weekly time frame. We do have a mixed time frame continuity, so the year is red, but we do have the month and quarter green as well. So this could be interesting to me. The fact that we weren't able to break the previous week's high and hold it indicates that this might be more to the downside here. So you just got to play it day by day, really, and just look at the market and how it is. If we're able to displace above previous day high, or if we reject previous day high, that could be an indication to grab your puts and get in puts and ride it back down towards sell side liquidity. Now, the next one that I like is Alta. Alta, to me, they do have earnings this week, yes, but Alta's definitely in a very interesting position for me going into this week. With our candle here, we have 467.64 is going to be our call trigger, and then our put trigger here is going to be 443.21. Ultimately, I would be targeting 487.16 for Alta on the week. If we are playing puts, I would want to sweep these relative equal lows here at 432.26 and then target this swing low down here at 402. Now, Ulta does have earnings this week, so it is going to be a volatile move. Contracts will be pricey and all that kind of stuff. Remember, not financial advice, just my personal opinion. Last one I'm going to round out things with is good old Mickey D's. Who doesn't love a good quarter pounder off the dollar menu? So on the week, we got a nice 2 down here in force, which is nice to see. 280.30 is going to be our put trigger. I'm ultimately going to be looking all the way down here at 270.57. And then if we can break the structure down here at 260.19 would indicate a nice swing to the downward side. Right now, this is currently just a scalp for me. McDonald's does move slow as well, but we do have a good amount of our time frame continuity red. The year is green as well. If we wanted to play calls, we can entertain this above 289.85. Ultimately, we would be targeting all-time highs here in this structure up here at 299.35. We hop down to the daily time frame. We can see that we got this pretty much doji here. So it indicates indecision if we want to continue the sell trend or if we want to come back up. So what I could see happening is us opening up inside, trying to take previous day high at 283.74, and then maybe selling back off and down. But overall, that's my watch list for the week. I'm going to throw it back over to Zeus, and he can go over his.
Hey, thank you. I love the names that you're watching as well.
Thank you.
So for me this week, kind of short, sweet. mRNA. So mRNA, ultimately we came up, kind of tested this volume imbalance or liquidity void. My apologies. Or gap fill, whatever you want to put it. And ultimately we got this rejection back down. So don't think it's necessarily fully ready yet to make that expansion leg that I'm looking for. Kind of that continuous, just up to up to up to up. So can see a pullback this week, but I am looking to eventually start buying the dips on this name specifically. So we have a call trigger above 107.26. First price target, we have a minor gap that gets filled at 108. And then from there, our second price target is 114. And then as well, we also have a put trigger. Put trigger below 101.40. Overall, looking to take out these lows down here at 95.02. Then coming down to this weekly sell-side liquidity at 93.54. And if we do pull back around here, I would look to see if buyers do step in. If they do, I will be one of them as well. Overall, to take this back up to this imbalance up here on the daily time frame, and as well filling this gap fill. Next up is Netflix. I'll be honest, Netflix looks like we're got some more downside to go. Looks like we're likely headed to hit this gap fill. So something I could see playing out this week is potentially Netflix getting a pop, us going up to about 415, even more potentially 420, and then ultimately having this push back down to target this gap fill later on in the week or even next week. So with Netflix, we have a call trigger above 406.52. Overall, first price target is 415.24. And then from there up to 429.12. And then for our put trigger, we have a put trigger below 398.15 that would line up. As you can see, kind of we have these order blocks here. Pretty sure if we go to the weekly time frame, it would look like an order block. So we have a put trigger below this 398.15. Overall, looking to target this gap fill down to 379.31. If we do get continuation, very likely we do test this dark pool level. This dark pool level is a very, very strong level. Came back from January 24th, and we've seen it play in effect quite often. Every time we get to this level, we kind of get an aggressive expansion. Drop here, aggressive, expansion back up, aggressive. And last but not least is CVX. So CVX currently we're just range bound. I've seen it set up like 1,000 times. You kind of get the breakout of a higher time frame trend line. You're just stuck in a range, and then eventually you get the displacement candle up that we're looking for. So at this point, it's kind of what I think likely happens within CVX. So we have a call trigger above 161.32. Overall, looking to target this 164.04 gap fill, and then from there up to 169.08. And then as well, we do have a put trigger. Like I said, we are range bound. So we have this put trigger below 158.16. Overall, looking to target this 154.73 level. And then potentially we can even go back down to this 150.92. And then as well, last but not least, I do like Pfizer as well. Pfizer, I kind of like this name a whole lot more as we're kind of seeing very clean price action. We've gotten the body close above the most recent pivot highs. So we finally did get an actual break of market structure to the upside. We've also been making higher lows. We made a higher low here. So at this point, I do think Pfizer can actually give us this gap fill going into this week up to 37.86. Downside, not really interested in the downside, but we would want to see this daily fair value gap get held at that 35.65 level for this play to be validated. And that's my 4 tickets for this week.
Good. I don't see any questions or anything. Is there anyone in Discord?
Nah, they did.
No? Okay. All right. Well, I will stop streaming